this is the area here we have to work with. There is no spare tire. It's just this silly little inflatable thing that's here. We're gonna relocate that into this amp board. What we need to do is grab our tape measure here. We're gonna take some measurements to try to get this shape. We're gonna use that bolt to hold it in place. We're gonna make this out of some 1/2" Sintra. We got 27 by 26. We don't want to go all the way to the back here. We want to make sure there's a little gap. 26 ought to leave us enough of a gap. Typically when we do it here, we like to mount the fuse to this area here for the wire we're running back. So we want to make sure we have enough room to clear the amp board. Let's go cut a piece of 27 by 26. And there we go. Now wait a minute. I know what you're thinking. Cut out a square. How come this is all round? And you're like, wait, it's what? And you'd be right to ask that. There's an easy way to do that on this car. And let me show you what it is. Remember this piece here that we took out? Well, on the back side of that is this. This is the little insulation pad they have. This peels right off. You can glue it back on when you're done. But it has that perfect arch that matches that arch there. And then really the only things you have to do is this little corner here, and there's a little bit right here, and you'll have that same shape. It's teetering right now on that little area that sticks up here, that pump. You want to push down on it and try to get that to indent into the bottom of this so that we can drill our hole. Next, put some legs on the back side of this so that it doesn't teeter, and then we'll start making our holes for the pump, for the battery, and then get the amps arranged, get the crossovers in. Gave us our little dents right here. What to do is measure in from those and we'll get our screw holes and we're all good. Do is kind of lay out where everything needs to go. I think this is what I've decided on. We're gonna put this all the way towards the front. We're gonna put all this other stuff. The power wire is gonna be on this side. Fuse holder is gonna sit about here. So battery will be here. Sub amp on this side, highs amp on this side because all the signal wire is going down this side of the car. Now the one thing to keep in mind is that the wiring has to come all the way to the back of the car and then go forward. There's no shortcut here anywhere in the front because the trunk piece sits flat on top of the tire well. There's no electronics in there. There's really no way to run wire up out this way without setting the box on top of it, and the box that's going to sit on top of it, you run the risk of pinching the wire. We have to go this way and around. It means the wire is going to be a little bit longer. That's why I'm trying to move everything to the back. We need to make holes for the battery, holes for the pump, and then we can screw these amplifiers in place. Alright, I'm going to make a little box that this is going to set in. We just went ahead and made a simple box out of more plastic, screwed it together, sticks out about 1 inch, and this guy here is going to sit in it just like that. We've already test fitted into the car so it clears. We just need to repeat the same process and put the battery right here. And essentially all we're doing is cutting 4 sides, screwing them together, putting a bottom on it. That's it. And then we router it out. So we just cut our 4 pieces here, take some double-sided tape. I'm going to tape this together. The reason why we're using tape is that way we can get this exactly the right size. We want it to be nice and tight on this battery. We don't want the battery flopping around. There we go, we have a nice tight fit on the battery. So we're gonna put some more double-sided tape on this, and we're gonna router that shape out on here. really close to how we want it. We're just gonna knock just a little bit off of this, mainly so that it'll be like this deep right here and clear this front. Right now it's sitting up a little high. It's kind of okay in the car. We'd have to make a funky shaped bottom, but it's at 1.5 inches. We're gonna take it down to 1 1/8 inches. But before we do that, put 4 screws in it to hold it nice and tight together. We have it to the right thickness. The other thing we want to do is also put a bottom on it. Put some more tape on it, and we'll make a bottom. Because this is the bottom, put some screws in it. I had put an F on here to label which way is front. We're just gonna put some tape on here just so we can use it for lining up, but it's not gonna be anything else, just so we can line it up, stick it in place, and then screw it on from the front. I'm gonna go test fit it again. There we go. We have our hole here that we talked about earlier. Battery goes here, pumpy thingy goes there. And actually, as you can see, it's nice and balanced. We do need to put a brace up the center here when we're done. That's what that is gonna set on so that it doesn't cave in. But we'll save that for last once we get all the amplifier and all the wiring in. Sound deadening the car, which like he's doing here, is a great idea, but one of the most common forgotten places, which is weird because it's one of the easiest places to do, is the trunk lid right here. This is the thing that rattles quite a bit. This customer's opted to have us do it. A lot of people don't. Make sure you get in all the nooks and crannies, and the secret to doing this is make sure that you figure out, like this has a piece of carpet that goes over it, this little guy right here. Make sure when you're doing it, like in this case, this has this nice lip, so we know we need to stay inside of that lip. You also want to make sure you get up inside of here here and any place that you can get into the inside metal. If you don't have a nice dented lip like this, take maybe a grease marker or some blue tape, but map it out, because nothing is worse than when you do one of these and you can see the roadkill on the portion of the trunk that isn't covered with the carpet. The other thing you can do too is constantly put it up there and check to make sure you don't see it.